Home opening win against the Bulls. Big three showing up with the dub tonight. This
Dub.
episode, we are going to discuss the big three, how they performed, our takeaways from the game, and a mini preview for the Cavs game on Sunday. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. It's your boy Brandon Scott again with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. How you feeling tonight with the dub tonight, Ed?
Feels good to be 2-0, man. It feels really good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, question tonight for everybody. With the performance tonight with the big three, is this the ceiling or the floor from this group? What do you think? So, my bad. As you know, the big three showed out tonight. And they were rolling in like Kuz, 3-point shooting. He ended up with 26 points, 6 rebounds. Bradley Beal, heroics down the stretch. He made a few mishaps here and there, but showed out 19 points, 8 assists. KP, who did foul out, DeMar DeRozan did get his way tonight, but contributed 14 points, 3 rebounds. So Ed, how you like this performance from the big three?
It was somewhat of a roller coaster performance, especially with Brad. Brad had some turnovers here and there, and he had somewhat of a slow first half, but he finished strong, man. That was such a clutch, tough basket. The layup from the pass from Anthony Gill, kind of like a backdoor cut, that was a beautiful finish. Then him going to the right and finishing with the shot off the backboard. He was clutch tonight, man. He got that big contract in the offseason, and he definitely earned it in the last 2 minutes of the game. The knock on him, I talk about this all the time, where he's dribbling the ball off his feet, he's turning the ball over, and he did have a bad turnover. I think it was somewhat really on Anthony Gill, though, because Anthony Gill should have came to the pass, and Anthony Gill kind of just came to the pass halfway and not full speed. So most of that was really on Anthony Gill not coming to the ball, but Bradley Beal, you still got to make a better pass. And actually, the pass wasn't that bad, so I'm not even going to put it on Brad. It really was on Anthony Gill. But there was one time where Brad had a bad turnover, and he blocked somebody's shot. I want to say it was either Desumu or Kobe White, and it leads to a Denny 3 on the other end. And, we went up by like 8 points at that point. So there were some big plays that Brad did make during the game other than just scoring the ball. He finished with 18 points tonight or 19 points, which is not a typical Bradley Beal game where we expect him to have 30 points. But I want to say he broke the record tonight. It was Rod Strickland's record. He had 8 assists, but he had 5 turnovers too. So he's got to clean up the turnovers. But he had 8 assists, and he had 2 huge blocks. And reportedly, he told Wes Unseld Jr. that he wanted to guard DeMar DeRozan down the stretch too. So that was huge too, that he wanted to take that defensive assignment. So I thought he had some lapses in the first half defensively, but he stepped up in the clutch where we really needed him, and he looked like a franchise guy in the last 2 minutes of the game. He stepped up in the clutch. But Porzingis, when he hit that step back on Vucevic, my goodness, Vucevic, his knee almost buckled. It looked like an N1 mixtape tour move that Porzingis put on Vucevic, that step back 3. I love it. That's the unicorn right there. There were times where Porzingis looked unstoppable, except for the refs in the 6 fouls. I thought that last foul they called on Porzingis was ridiculous. And Porzingis had 3. I want to see him rebound the ball better. And Kuz, 26 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. He was feeling it from the 3 tonight, 4 for 8 from the 3. There was one time where he just pulled up in transition and hit a 3. He hit back-to-back threes at one point to start off in the second half. He was 6 for 7 from the free throw line. He's been super clutch. We know that it's a contract year for him, so Tommy Sharper's going to have to pay this guy. 26 points, man. First 2 games of the year, Kuzma's looking like the real deal, man. So I think it's too early to tell, but I think I kept saying solid 3 over the offseason. We both kept saying solid 3, not a big 3. And they're turning me into believers, man. I know the last time we wore these jerseys, we did have a big 3 in Gil, Karan, and Anton. Now, I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but the guys, the 3, they look good. The solid 3, they look good. They're playing good basketball right now.
Absolutely. And while I'm a little hesitant because, like you said, it's a little early, I love what I see from this 3. And then it's showing out. Kuz, we were talking about how he was struggling, from 3 in preseason. He forgot about all that. he is rolling. I mean, he's shooting the three at a high percentage. Brad, it took him a little bit to get started, but that fourth quarter, he really showed out. Clutch shots down the stretch. I mean, they made it a little close, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute about it being a little closer than it should have been. But the shots in the paint down the crunch time, that's what you want from your franchise guy. He showed out. He showed why, he earned that contract. Brad looked good tonight. Kuz, like you said, pay him. I'm telling you, gotta pay him. He really looks like a complete player. He looks like a guy that could be dangerous in this league. I'm impressed. I'm not, again, the Bulls had injuries, so would it have been a different game if Lonzo and Levine was here? Yeah, absolutely. But a win's a win. This is a good quality win. This goes a long way for chemistry and, them being motivated going forward, because the schedule does get a little harder next couple of weeks. So, again, KP is rocking. They ran an offense to him many times. Top of the key. He worked well with Beal. The ball movement was solid. So overall, I was very impressed with this team. I love what I saw. A few other people, Rui, 12 points, shot 4 from 9 from the field. Monte Morris, the shot starting to get better. He made some good jump shots tonight. He was out assisted by Bill. As we know, Bill had 8 assists. So this is another fact that I like about this team. You can kind of shift responsibilities back and forth. One guy's having an off night, another guy fills that void. Monte is slowly integrating himself into this offense, and Bradley Beal shows why. I've given a lot of crap for being a playmaker or running the ball, but hey, look, 8 assists. He's doing the job. So overall, very, very impressed. But before we move on, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for betting football, and to start the new basketball season is my go-to. I used it tonight. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continuous source for all your sports wagering information, with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, it's playoff time. MMA had a big fight tonight, boxing, and of course, the National Basketball Association. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more. Bet online, where the games start. It's also brought to you by Game to Game. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now make your second listen Game to Game Eastern Conference. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the Eastern Conference with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On Eastern Conference, available on RC app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. So, Ed, what are your main takeaways from this game tonight?
There's so many, man. Like you said, I thought it was a team effort. I thought other guys really stepped up. Like Denny is an unsung hero in this game. Him guarding DeMar DeRozan the whole game. That's just such a tough cover. He's a guy that he's able to make moves to manipulate the refs or get the ref thinking that he created contact and that the defender is the one that fouled him. With his pump fakes and up fakes, Denny is so disciplined and not going for fakes. I love Rui, but there was time where Rui was going for pump fakes and whatnot. But Denny just stays down and disciplined. Denny had 5 fouls too. It was a tough cover. DeMar's just a tough cover, man. And I held my breath when DeMar shot that 3. It did a spin out of it. Did a toilet spin out of the rim, and I was just it brought me PTSD from last year when he hit that game winner in the corner, and he really almost made that 3. Now shout out to Anthony Gill. He switched. Denny was guarding DeMar, but Anthony Gill switched on to after the screen. I want to say it was from Vucevic. He switched on to DeMar DeRozan. He kept his hand up, and DeMar DeRozan fell too, trying to manipulate the refs again, kind of like kicking his feet out a little bit, James Harden-esque kind of stuff. And I was scared the refs were going to call a foul there too, to be honest. But yeah, Denny had 10 boards. Like Denny, they said Denny was not going to play at one point, and I guess they changed the decision and he ended up playing, because, he has a streak of playing 82 or 83 games. Now he hasn't missed 83. He's played 83 games in a row. So this was the 84th game, but he didn't score a lot, but he had 2 big threes. He had 2 clutch threes. He did miss an alley-oop layup dunk. They should have dunked it. I know he has the sprained ankle, but I know he should have dunked that. He should have dunked that. He should have finished it at least. 6 points, 4 assists, and 10 boards. I mean, he's just a jack of all trades. He's a Swiss Army knife. And we're going to need him. And I think Wes made the right decision by starting him. Monte Morris, once again, steady Eddie guy. We're just getting better point guard play. It doesn't have to be flashy point guard play, but just a guy that can get the offense set up and get guys in their sets. That's just what we need from Monte, and he's doing his job. DeLon Wright, Monte did finish the game. DeLon Wright, I thought he gave good minutes too. 6 points, 4 assists, 3 steals, a block. This guy is just a defensive pest out there. Rui took a charge too tonight. Rui took a big charge on I can't remember whether it was on DeMar or Vucevic, but he took a big charge. And I thought Rui looked good tonight too. Rui had 12 points. I think he took some good mid-range shots tonight. But the only question I have for you too is why is I like Anthony Gill, but Wes Unseld Jr., he really loves Anthony Gill. Why would you have Anthony Gill in that situation towards the end of the game? Would you not put Gafford in or Rui in, possibly at the 5, or any other option when Porzingis went out with that foul? Because that still to me was on Anthony Gill. But what were your thoughts on that too? And you can answer the takeaway question too.
Yeah, I'm with you. That was crazy. I don't agree with that move. I can see what Wes likes from Anthony Gill, but in that situation, though, Gaff should have been in the game. So I totally agree. I wouldn't in favor of that situation. But overall, what would Wes like from him or like about him as a player? Well, he's a blue collar player. He kind of plays. He does all the.
He's like Nick Collison from the Thunder.
Thank you. He does all of the things that they don't have a category for. You know what I mean? Like hard work, determined. You know what I mean? So absolutely. So he's a real blue collar guy. So I'm a big fan of him, but like you said, no, not in that situation. Absolutely not. But my takeaways, the bench did well tonight. It was man, that was like, I'm a big fan of this bench unit. And the way they have this unit configured, the backcourt of DeLon Wright and Will Barton is a good backcourt. It really is. Rui has played, he played better. Gil, we just touched base on him, and then Gaff. So yeah, I like what I see overall from the bench. The bench points tonight on point. Denny's shot, we mentioned it earlier. Denny's shot looked good. I mean, 2 for 2 from 3, but it looked good. You can see an improvement. It was a faster release. I noticed that. It was a faster release. It's what you want to see. Man, play of the night for me. Bradley Beal in the third quarter, that block, which led to that wide open 3 in the corner from Denny. Bradley Beal, man, the dog was in Brad tonight. I'm trying to tell you.
Real deal, Bill.
Thank you. I don't know if it was about the inspiration with the jerseys, because man, that's my favorite. I like the style jersey back in the day. The Gilbert Arenas days. I'm a big fan of that jersey. So I'm gonna cop me a white one this year. I had to get a Bradley Beal one.
I got this blue one behind me.
Yes, sir. I got the old school Gil. So hey, let's get it. So hey, good team win. Obviously, people are gonna say the Bulls were missing 2 integral pieces of their lineup, and I get that. But a win's a win. I mean, it's still a good quality win. Now, one negative I am going to bring up: keeping your foot on the gas. It's the second game in a row where the team came from behind and made a very, very close game in the end. Look, you go against these contending teams in the East, you're not going to get that opportunity. I mean, they're going to blow you out the building. You have to keep your foot on the pedal. Easy. That was one big problem I had. And you can tell Brad, he made some mistakes when he took ownership of it with the interview at the end of the game. He noticed these things. He was talking about it at the interview. They got to clean that up. You got to, I mentioned the last video. This team's in the business to embarrass people, to win games. Look, nobody cares if you blow people out. Keep your foot on the pedal. We got to quit letting teams come from behind. Because look, Chicago, we keep saying it. This is a totally different game in that situation with Levine and Ball in the lineup. It would have been ugly, because teams are going to take advantage of that. And when good teams go on runs, they're going to blow you out. You cannot struggle like that against Brooklyn. You cannot struggle against the Bucks like that. So that's one factor. If we are intent on making a fast start this season, we got to show that up. What do you think?
Yeah, we do. Our largest lead tonight was 17 points. The Bulls' largest lead was 6. Also, one thing that I didn't like from West too was, Will Barton had a goaltend. They goaltended Will Barton's shot, and they didn't. West should have challenged that. That's another thing that stood out to me. Like you said, we had a technical foul. We had a 3 second in the paint on defense. We got a technical foul down the stretch. I didn't like that. I think they were trying to double Vucevic. That was another thing that stood out to me too. But yeah, no, this is 2 games in a row where we have big leads. We had an 18-point lead against the Pacers. We had a 17-point lead against the Bulls. we do have to finish games. And like I brought up the Clippers game from last year where we're up 35. Of course, we were up nowhere near that, but still, it gives the same kind of vibes where we have to have that killer instinct. We have to have that dog in us. We have to smell blood and go for the kill. We have to put our foot on people's necks, not to be too violent, but that's just what we got to do. It's competition, and we have to finish games. We're just a little too lackadaisical at times, letting people get to the rim. I had Kuzma was getting to the rim a couple times in the first half too. DeMar DeRozan is a tough cover, but we got to defend better for sure. So, but one more thing too. Gafford had a beautiful dunk hit a really nasty dunk on Andre Drummond. Kuzma had a nasty dunk on Drummond too. I thought Gafford played hard at times, but he's got to clean up the screens and offensive rebounding and stop. He was battling with Andre Drummond. He's just got to rebound the ball a little bit better. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, we do have to. We have to get it together, and I think sometimes we had a stall. The offense stalled at the end of the third quarter. I think it was some of the bench unit guys, but they played better in the beginning of the fourth quarter. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. And this is what separates contending teams from mediocre teams. You have to play all the way through. You can't be feeling yourselves when you're up, with 5 to 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Because look, I think it was a minute and 50. No, it was less than that. It had to be 7 seconds left. And my wife was like, "Oh, we're good." I said, look, 7 seconds is a long time in the NBA. Look,
Right.
2 main shots. The Rosen last season teaches you 7 seconds is a long time. That LeBron shot in Capital One. I don't remember that. When they,
Unfortunately, yes, I do. Unfortunately.
I mean, look, 7 seconds is a long time. So you got to play through. I know they're happy. It's good to have a fast start, but you cannot be feeling yourself because look, the negative is this is a good team win, but they had their injuries. And when you get into the bread and the butter of the Eastern Conference, they are going to be unforgiving. You've got to play through. I'm telling you, these big teams, they're going to test you, especially when we start getting better. This team is a good team. I think this is a very good team, but we're going to have to prove ourselves. We're going to have to beat Chicago full strength. Look, Sunday, we have the Cavs. So we're going to get into that next. So we're going to slide right into that. So as you know, Sunday, we play the Cleveland Cavs on the road. Now, their potential lineup, I don't know if anybody knows, Garland is out. He was ruled out with injury. So point guard looks like Mitchell's going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
2 guards looking like Karis LeVert. At the 3, Okoro hasn't played much this season, so I'm interested to see if they give him playing time. But it looks like it might be Usman. And, of course, the Twin Towers, Mobley and Allen. So, do a quick preview before we roll. What would be your keys of victory Sunday night? Would you change anything for the current game plan, or would you kind of change things?
They're gonna have to rebound the ball, man. For sure. You got 2 guys in Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, and then of course before end, we'll do player of the game, and then who gets the defensive belt because they've been doing that. DeLon Wright got it last game, so we're gonna do that too. But they're gonna have to rebound. They got some athletic bigs in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. They're 2 lean guys that are super athletic, that are physical as well, and that are very skilled. So they're going to have to rebound the ball, and they're going to have to keep Donovan Mitchell out of the paint. He's a guy that can get to the basket, and he can knock down the 3 ball. A big acquisition from them. They got Kevin Love, too, who can rebound the ball, too, coming off the bench, too. So they're going to have a big lineup. This may be a game where we can see the Kristaps and Gafford lineup and matching up against Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, two 6'11" guys there, and we can have our 2 big guys go out there and match up. So I want to see that. That's what I'm looking for it into Cleveland. I think the game's at Cleveland. Last time when we played there last year, we had Kuzma had a game winner against Cleveland early in the year. But Darius Garland, so he's going to be out, but they lost to the Raptors 105-108. But like I said, keys to victory would be rebounding and defending the paint. You got to rebound. You can't let these guys get offensive boards. Jarrett Allen, he'll try to push you around and get offensive boards. You got to be physical. You just got to defend the paint. Those are the 2 keys that I really have.
Those are good ones. It's going to be definitely a measure stick game. Cleveland's rolling. Or I think they're going to roll. Like you said, they took the L, but I think they're going to be a contending team in the Eastern Conference. So this is definitely a team that I want to see us beat, especially early on. Was keep this momentum going. Like I said, Donovan Mitchell, that's gonna be a tough cover. Monte, he's gonna have his work cut out for him because he is a crafty guard. He really is. He knows how to score. He knows how to drive. He knows how to distribute. So this is a measuring stick game for Monte. If you're serious about being a starter, this is where he has to show up at the starting point guard position. Here's LeVert. He's a guy who can shoot from high volume. I was a big fan of him when he was playing with the Nets. He's a scorer who can score in volume. Usman and Okoro are both defensive-minded guys. They both can shoot from the arc. And like you said, the Twin Towers, it's going to be very interesting to see if West goes big. I think he should, and I think he will. I think that would be the best bet, trying to beat Allen and Mobley, because these guys, they can play. Mobley can put the ball on the floor. So, looking at the bench, hey, a familiar name, Raul Neto. He's with the Cavs. So we're gonna see him on Sunday night. Ricky Rubio. You got a couple of guards there. We know how Neto can play. Rubio, good vision at the point guard position. And then Kevin Love, long time Cleveland Cav. He's still rocking with the Cavs. Look, he could be a tough cover. He's a big guy. He's a big man who can shoot from behind the arc. So we have a work cut out for us, but I think that the injury to Garland will be a hit for them. I think a lot of the responsibility on the offensive end, especially perimeter-wise, is going to be on Mitchell. So I think West has to exploit that, because the perimeter is going to be hurting. Your biggest perimeter scorer is Donovan Mitchell. Mobley at this point would be maybe your third perimeter scorer, but it's a weakness and it's a window that I think he's got to exploit. I think this is a winnable game. If we keep rolling the way we are with the scoring with our big three, not the solid three, they got promoted. The big three. I think we can win this game. So I was going to bring up one other thing. All right. So player of the game and defensive player of the game. Who you got tonight?
Player of the game. Oh, one thing that stood out too, I forgot to bring up. The Bulls shot 33 free throws to our 11. So I'm not going to say anything about the refs, but there definitely was a difference in free throws. And that doesn't always tell the story of the way the game was officiated, but, it is what it is. And we shot better from the three-point line tonight, too, 10 for 26, 38%. That's something we talked about. That was a concern, three-point shooting. 26 assists tonight. Once again, we moved the ball as well. So we've had a lot of unselfish guys out there playing good ball, 8 blocks as well. And I already talked about Denny getting 10 boards. We had 44 points in the paint to the Bulls 34 as well. So I thought we did a good job of that. Player of the game, you could go many ways. You could go with Kuz. I thought Kuz played his butt off, but I'm gonna go with Bill, man, for being clutch. I've been tough on Bill. Bill led the NBA in turnovers in the clutch before he got injured. With clutch turnovers, there was the Pistons game last year, which is he had a backcourt, which is just a lot of his turnovers are just unforced turnovers. It's like what's going on? You're tripping over your feet. But this game, he stood tall, 10 toes down, finished strong in the clutch in the last 2 minutes. My defensive player of the game, you could go with Bill too, honestly. Those huge blocks, but I'm gonna go with. I was thinking Denny or DeLon. I'm gonna go with Denny, man, because he had a tough cover against DeMar, and I think he did a lot of good things against DeMar. He made it tough for DeMar. Every shot DeMar took was a tough shot, so I'm gonna go with Denny. I'm gonna give him the defensive belt tonight.
Yeah, totally agree. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about the refs a little bit, just a tiny bit, a little bit. Man, yeah, you're right. You can't always judge bad refereeing, on free throw numbers, but I think tonight you can. There was a couple of fouls. There was one foul. I forget who was defending DeRozan, but they tap him on the elbow. Like, what are we doing? Come on, let him play. It's basketball. Come on. Like, let's not forget how the 90s were. This is where it's going. Like, tapping on the elbow. Come on. It was terrible. It was terrible. The referees alone made it closer than it should have been. So I'm just gonna change subject. So so player of the game, I'm going with the real Bill. I'm telling you, this is a franchise player right now. I'm trying to tell you, those clutch shots is what you need to do. We complained a lot, and both of us did. We got on him about the lack of clutch shots, not showing out, not being the best player on the floor for his team at the moments where it mattered. And he did it tonight. Those points he scored down the stretch in the fourth quarter were defining moments. The final shot, he really solidified himself tonight as that franchise guy. Now, thing is, keep it going. Be that leader. Keep this thing going. We have a good team. 2-0. I mean, very excited. Now, obviously, look, when we start, I think if we could beat Cleveland, then we're really cooking. You know what I'm saying? We are cooking with grease at that point. So, defensive guy, man, that is good. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Denny too. I hate to take the easy way out, but look, he's a tough cover, and he got some calls. It shows. He's one of those guys in the league that get calls, and it is what it is. But he's tough. The spins, driving the lane, his shooting. He was good tonight. The fact that he kept the Bulls in the game without Ball, without Levine, shows how good of a player he is. And I forget who, I think it was Drew that brought it up tonight. They were talking about his years in San Antonio, said, man, it's a totally different player. His years in Chicago, he's really revitalized himself as a player. It's going back to the days with the Raptors, his athleticism. So I'm not going to talk too much about DeRozan because he ain't on my team. But overall, Denny did well tonight, did very well. So we're going to go ahead and end it there. So thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA. The NBA season is here, and our local NBA experts and insiders have you covered on and off the court all season long. All the biggest stories around the NBA every Monday through Friday in less than 30 minutes. Available on YouTube, Odyssey, and wherever you get podcasts. Definitely follow me and my guy Ed on Twitter and Instagram. And boom, the dub tonight, 2-0. All right, everybody, definitely tune in Sunday. They're playing in Cleveland at 7 o'clock. Tune in, show your support, and let's get a third dub. Have a good night and peace.